Hello friends, welcome back to In It All Is Art. Today's video is the 2025 Halloween Indoor Decorating Extravaganza. I'm super excited. I really love how this comes together and I hope you enjoy. I'm going to start by sharing some of the decor pieces I'll be using. This is a collection from many years. There's some particularly special ones that I'm going to share some stories about. The collection that you're seeing on the table right now, those ornaments go on the Halloween tree that I have in my front entry. It's a birch tree, one of those kind of fairy lighty-uppy birch trees. And then I have a collection of witches. I wish those were originals, those two in the back there. But this witch is particularly special to me. She came from this shop, that one in red. It's the Weird Way. And you can see her there right above the plants toward the back in the picture. So she came from Edinburgh, Scotland. And my husband and I went there last year. I did a witch tour. It was super cool. And she just absolutely blew me away. The detail in her and her elegance, her sparkle. And then those two little witches, the artist, I feel bad because I didn't realize that they were knockoffs. I'm going to keep them because I still love them, but I should have. I was a bit naive in thinking that I was getting originals there. So here I am working on the tree. I'm going to step back and just let you enjoy, and then I'll pop in periodically and give you little updates. You may have noticed the Tolkien Lord of the Rings themed entry that there is here, or you'll see it more throughout this video, which to me makes it even more special that there is an eye on this tree. I really love the theme. The shelf below holds a collection of the books, and then there's a dragon and some other things that kind of bring it together. These red leaves I found at a thrift store and I absolutely love them. They feel really realistic, and with a light underneath, they look like flame kind of, and so it's a perfect spot for these witches. And she just holds that corner down so beautifully. I absolutely love that witch. I love her hat. And then the two other witches are like her little underlings or whatever. So it's really perfect. And you're getting to see a little sneak peek of the shelf. I'll be decorating that as well. And the whole thing just totally catches my eye now that I've completed it. So now I'm shifting over to my mantle. Unfortunately, that fireplace is inoperable, so I end up just decorating in front of it every year. It ends up being the spot where my Christmas Department 56 village goes, so I make the best of it. My husband and I rent this home, and so we don't really have a lot of say on what happens with it, but the mantle is still fun to decorate regardless of whether the fireplace works. Every autumn it becomes home to our collection of blown glass pumpkins. It's pretty perfect for it actually because it's a very narrow shelf. And I will just weave some leaves and lights and some bats and things into this. And it comes together, I think, pretty nicely. It changes a little bit every year. This year, it's pretty charming. So I do mess around with that center area quite a bit. I was on the struggle bus a bit with what to do with the lights, and I end up finding a really beautiful big spider mum that goes in the center to kind of anchor it down. I tried the lights, those glass, they're kind of a speckled glass oak leaf. I tried them woven through the pumpkins and it was just too much. But I really wanted to use them over there. The television is off to my left, and so when we're sitting and facing that direction, it adds just a little bit of light, but it doesn't overwhelm the screen. So I end up using them like that, but the leaf accompaniment changes at the end. So I'm happier with it, but it's still missing something. So I added in a spider web kind of doily mantelpiece thing. Losing my words for what those are called. And then some bats. And I love how the bats look like they're coming up out of the fireplace. It makes sense. And that just brings the whole thing together. And that mirrored spider came from Joanne Fabric. I'm sure we are all very sad and missing that store. I'm so thankful the pieces that I've collected over the years that I have those. So there's the bats. They're coming up and they swoop around and get smaller like they are flying off into the distance. And now I'm going to decorate the two shelves that are on either side of our television, where we keep our DVDs and Blu-rays, and then the speakers that are on either side. And so I'll take you along for that. Just kidding. Actually, I'm going to be doing this walk through archway, and then also the shelf to my left. And then I'll be doing the other ones. That wooden mask is from Sierra Leone. My husband acquired it in his travels. And according to my husband, it is a devil mask from the all-male society called the Bangbani. And the reason why he was able to acquire it is because the mask had cracked. The crack, with the belief of the Bangbani, released the magic from the mask. But the mask had been cemented afterward using local earth sealants from Sierra Leone, and the mask survived the trip from Sierra Leone back to the United States, thank goodness. And it is absolutely stunning. It's up all year round. And then the mask next to it is my face. And I did that in an art therapy group that I ran probably about a decade ago. So it's a younger version of my face. I have the hardest time figuring out what to put in front of that raku urn. That is also up all year round, and I love it. What comes together at the end I absolutely adore, and once the little black light fairy lights are weaving through this, I just think this maybe one of my favorite displays on this shelf ever. I have a very small collection of uranium glass, and that pumpkin on the left by that Tolkien artwork book is also uranium glass. So there's just this really neat kind of element that happens. And then that skull up at the top that came from Michael's a couple of years ago, that it has fairy lights in it as well. So it's got kind of that really beautiful acid kind of mossy green. And there, this is the winner, this little skeleton with the butterfly wings, that holds that center spot down. So as is the norm at the end of this video, I will do a walkthrough tour in the dark and all of these beautiful lights all lit up. But I love the way it plays off of those mushrooms. Those are from World Market. And then of course the uranium glass and the little skeleton. He's so cute. He just really came together perfectly. He's sitting on this beautiful raku leaf, ceramic leaf, so it ties in with that pottery. And now I'm just gonna embellish a little more on the entryway, some mushrooms and a spider, and there's that hanging ghost. Yeah, I'm really thrilled. The whole thing ties together. So now I'm gonna shift down to the lower shelves, and I'll take you along for that. So I wanted to give a shout out to my favorite incense company, Sea Witch Botanicals. Not sponsored by that company at all, but I just wanted to share because it is excellent incense. It burns really clean, they have beautiful images, and it smells amazing. So there's that witch hat DIY that I made earlier in the season. I sometimes do a 3-tiered tray for the table, and this year I just wanted something really simple, so that is holding that down. There was a little peek at what we call the listening room. That's where my husband's stereo is, and I do a little bit of decorating in there, but not too much. And then here are the pieces that are going to go on the shelves flanking the TV. I have collected over the years some spooky books. They're old antique books, and whenever I find one that has anything remotely spooky, I grab it. That top one I'm a particular fan of. It's about witchcraft in the Middle Ages. And then just some different pieces there. The dried floral is actually from my garden. That is called a Christophori allium, and it dries so beautifully. It looks like little explosions. And that pumpkin, oh goodness, where did that come from? Oh, it came from right there, a garden center in my town, and it was half off, so I was like, I'm going to get that. And I love how it looks with light inside. It's really like a sparkly cavern. So I am going to add some moss at the bottom there just to soften the look a little bit. And then I'm putting together the little vignettes on these speakers. You just gotta love a good bobblehead ornament, especially when it is a sparkly owl witch. And I have a little trio of those bobbleheaded ornaments that I love. They came from a store called Hiron's in my area. That skull with the bat mask, I'm trying to remember where it came from, and I honestly don't. I know it was from some sort of antique or thrift store. Much of this stuff is thrifted, even when it's from World Market. Originally, I find a lot of stuff on clearance and or thrift stores. So this table behind our couch, I'm facing our screen, so we don't generally see it aside from when we're just walking through the room. So I'm keeping it really simple. There's that cauldron arrangement I made earlier. There's some videos linked at the end of this video with the DIYs. I love the little cat. I love that witch. And I think it's just really simple and comes together nicely. And so here it is, the nighttime tour. I'll start with the lights on so you can see the decor and just in more muted light, and then I'll turn them off and you can see it full on dark.